Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another scene set in the Chronicles of Darkness, Vampire Requiem, a Requiem for London. Tonight, we set our scene with Julian T. Goodman once more. Swarm of yaks, neo-native clan gangrel. Slayer of many kindred mortals and ghouls alike.
I'm also a doctor.
He's also a doctor. Or so the rumor goes. But tonight he is neither killing nor healing, nor seeing to the needs of the Order. Tonight he is set to meet with his contact, who is active within criminal circles. Local fixer, keeps people informed, gives them jobs if they need any. Make sure problems get solved. What is his, what is their name, Julian?
Right now, let's just call him James. He tries to keep a relatively innocuous name, not to make himself stand out too much.
Mr. James. Okay. Mr. James has been in contact with you, Julian. Been keeping you up to date as to the activities of the local wildlife. But something that's caught your attention, that you've had him look into, is an event that's been going around criminal circles recently called the Midnight Auction. A private affair where various antiquities and items esoteric are sold, including other copious amounts of clearly criminal goods of the highest quality. Very highbrow, apparently attracts only the most discerning, wealthy and upstanding of clientele. Very elite gig. And some of the stories he's given you about this auction have been rather bizarre. You have your standard diamond rings, your cases full of gold bars, your stolen USBs holding invaluable corporate information. But there have also been stories of more of the occult, more of the strange. Items, antiques, lost to history or having been missing for years suddenly turning up at this auction. Incredibly strange designs, like old flintlocks wrapped in thorns and masks that seal themselves to someone's face. It's all very strange hearsay. And while sometimes you get this superstition that filters down in the world, particularly when criminal enterprises and more mystic ones and more religious ones collide. This is definitely rather strange and perhaps a slight concern. After all, you wouldn't want this to turn into a masquerade breach. Your contact has arranged to meet you in Archbishop's Park, and that is where you'll find him.
Julian will be just in casual attire, though still wearing his signature hat. And moves over is near James, looking nonchalantly, and simply wait for him to respond, if anything.
Yeah. He's a short Caucasian man in his late 40s, thin as a rake. Not all that imposing at all. Something of a surprise he's managed to get so far in crime, given his stature. But, word has it that he's done some very unsavory things to fend off reputation his appearance so often casts immense. But, he turns to you. Ah, my good man, Mr. T, please take a seat with me.
He sits down with him, and he says, James, my fellow associate, I hear that you have good news for me.
I do. I've been looking into that, little party you wanted in on. I've managed to scrounge up some answers for you.
And Julian will bring out move over some quid over to James. And just kind of pass it across their table or the floor towards him.
So it's just he's just sitting on a bench.
Yeah. To exchange some cash to show my appreciation. Job well done, and hopefully keep him talking.
Whole thing gets, I'm not even sure where to start. Some of the things I found out, it's all terribly out of my range of expertise, really. Very weird words coming out of that auction. Can't imagine why you're interested, and I certainly don't seek to ask. But it's a little get-together of well-off individuals that meet up in differing locations once a month. sometimes the wider community catches wind of where it's happening, but everybody who seems in on it seems very tight-lipped. It's been difficult for me to find out.
But you have found something.
Rather, I've done you one better. I found the person that runs the whole damn thing. Never mind where it all is, or it's due to take place next. That wouldn't do you much good. You need an invite. I'm pretty strict on the security. There isn't much of anything on anybody that's ever tried to get in without one. But from the faces I've tracked down, everyone they've recounted who's ever tried to attend has never been contacted again. Made the choice to skip town. You know what I mean?
Yes. We were talking about this person being a quote-unquote private, or do they seem to be part of an organization?
She runs one of her own. You might have heard of her in our circles. They call her the Tigress. A bit self-indulgent if you ask me, but well, then again, we are an industry of very self-indulgent people.
Okay. Well, I'm curious how you know particular cat, or you wouldn't say that, or this particular beast. Where she's at.
I don't know. I know. But I know people who represent them. Runs a gang, one of the bigger ones.
Alright. They known for taking requests?
They're known to be territorial.
He nods. Yeah. I'm not in the mood to cause any wars. I just want to get in. I'll be as nice as I possibly can be. Do they have any particular vices that might make them more interested in talking to me?
A group calls themselves the Grey Tigers. They'll operate out of all parts of the city, but they're more heavily based in Westminster.
Alright.
Tigers, as she likes to be called. There's a club called the Melting Pot.
Goes off tomorrow, yeah?
No.
Huh?
I'm off tomorrow, yeah.
Okay,
Right.
Sorry?
I just got interrupted, so just had to mute myself briefly.
No, you're right.
Oh, right. Let me mute myself, come on!
Well, go downstairs then, love. It's gone
Sorry.
12 o'clock. I'm sorry.
Not or something. Right. Alright, I'm not going downstairs now. Fuck off. Sorry about that again.
That was cool.
Now if she wants, I'm not sure I could tell you. Tends to work for agents. There's a hot shot there.
Alright.
International. I think the Tigers might just be part of a larger syndicate that she runs.
Wouldn't doubt it.
It's pretty uncommon. A woman makes it so far in our industry.
Happens all the time, especially if they're from a lineage. If she's absolutely unattached with anybody, that is definitely impressive.
You must be very green if this only happens all the time. Couldn't really know better than you.
It does, just doesn't get talked about as much. But regardless of that, so she doesn't have any obvious weakness or interests, no particular drugs, no particular trade that might get her attention. So I can be invited. Try not to break down as many doors as I used to. It causes too much noise these days. But if that's what I gotta do, that's what I'll do. But it'd be nice to actually be given a key.
From what I know of her, she tends to ask for favors. Doesn't accept payment in cash usually. Unless it's well, standard business.
Right.
But for personal affairs, things like this, I don't think so. Sort of her reputation, she is more in service than in money.
This marketplace, so people know about it, but do people talk about it? Trying to incline whether or not it's safe to bring it up.
I'll probably keep the info to yourself. Tigers are good at finding people. They've made it a habit of finding people who speak out of turn. But keep it close to your chest.
Alright.
Don't want to give a bad first impression.
Do you have any obvious enemies? Any terrain disputes? Or territory disputes?
There are always border disputes, but nothing that I can immediately think of. I'll look into it for you.
Yeah, just looking for an inn.
Well,
So, some rivals go disappear, I'm very sure they appreciate that.
maybe in the meantime you could seek out some work for them. When you work in our thing, clinic, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it's going on well right now. I do have some people that are, some would say, would be unfit to be in my workplace, but some of the best people that I got.
Discretion is a very valuable commodity. You could use that to make the movement, but I don't know, they might have their own practitioners. They're pretty well accounted for.
So this is at least a good start to look for me. I'll speak around, talk around. Said I'll observe them as well. But if you can give me anything more, much appreciated.
Maybe just give the melting pot a visit.
That's going to be my first start. And Julian will stand up and just kind of nonchalantly look around and say, as always, I appreciate your work, Mr. James.
Anytime, Mr. T, you're one of my most valued customers.
So I thank you. And he will shake his hand, and again, putting a bit more money into his hands.
He shakes your hand. As if it were magic, the cash is gone.
Well, best to your business, Mr. James, and thank you.
Of course, have a pleasant evening.
And when he leaves, Julian will bring out his phone and begin looking up the address to the melting pot.
It's a couple of club that rests on the west side of Westminster, away from Soho, where most of the clubs are.
And with that, Julian asks for a transport service to move him over there.
Can you wear a black cab?
Gotcha.
Alright. Take a cab over to the melting pot. And looks very generic on the outside. Almost looks like you're walking into a theatre. But once you get inside, It is a very spacious club, very well lit with bright gold and orange lights. True to the name. It's not just a bar, but an outright kitchen in the middle. And you can see this place is not a restaurant, as it is a club in many ways. And it appears to have very deliberate Indian inspiration.
Julian kind of notes, like, oh me.
Somewhat opulent. The walls almost reflect the light. Almost. As it almost feels like rays of sunlight are beaming down on you and around you from all directions. This is a surprisingly bright place. Caters to a relatively specific clientele.
Julian takes that account that can't be too overt because he easily can see many plants. As he looks around, is there any type of particular pattern of clientele that reside here?
It's but it's definitely got a lot of production values behind it. Some people feel a lot of people cultures and origins. I wonder if it's relatively straight. The opulence is countermanded by graffiti and markings that line up the walls and the sculptures. The lighting is arranged as if the highlights and very iconicalism that is present from everything in the room. But I have a security presence. And the music is very modern.
Julian just takes this all in and kind of puts that in some consideration. So that's not unheard of for Kindy to be modernist, but some do have their moments of time solidified in everything they do. But he continues in. Is there any bouncers asking him any questions or waiting for him to get an invitation or anything of that nature?
Do you require an invitation to enter and enjoy yourself?
Oh, so they do or they don't?
Yeah, you don't.
Okay. Yeah, then yeah, nope. You'll just walk in and be a patron for a minute and just kind of watch people and see if you notice anything interesting. He will spin the vitae to put on the Blush of Life as well.
Yeah. As you explore the clock, could you make me a Whisper's composure check?
And because of my heightened senses, will I be taking any type of penalties? Because I'm assuming the music's pretty loud.
Yeah, only minus 1 dice.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm still back to 5. One success.
See someone. Etching about in the corner of your vision. A few boosts back. It doesn't look right to you. Isn't human almost.
Does he seem does he seem to have a predatory aura, or just unusual?
It's face on off, but I'll put it. The skin is an ebony black. His eyes are a deep yellow. Nobody else seems to take him in mind. You see him.
Do they pay him in mind in the sense that treating him just like any regular person, or does it seem like they almost like they don't realize that he's there?
They seem to notice him, but they don't seem to pay him in mind.
You could just have a skin condition and severe jaundice. Unlikely, but it's always a possibility. I guess looking at a glance, can I even maybe defer that does it seem natural, or is it obviously something seems preternatural about his appearance?
No natural person has a literal ebony black skin.
And I don't know how good what those certain types of cosmetic surgeries are, but I don't see that very often either.
The weird thing is that the way in which the light shines upon him, despite his bright black skin, it looks to be reflects the light like a mirror. You can literally see the form here. Light just because of the distance. You slowly see yourself in his eyes, like you said, the beautiful reflection of yourself.
Julian, well, they get the stand and walk towards this figure, and as he gets closer, as gets a mild testing jab, he is going to lash out at with the beast. And I'm going to go with the competitive beast.
Alright.
And intelligence plus blood potency.
Actually, need to read up on that as well.
Oh, page 92.
Okay. Ooh. So, mash up the beast. Attempts to engulf. There's something. It's the other man. Attempts to befuddle him, to frustrate him or something. He can shrink to this small move. But it is your beast that runs up befuddled and frustrated. It's your beast that lies within this person, this vein. Something ethereal. Something that slips through the beast's fingers. You can feel it. You can feel your beast turning too cold and empty. Do you need a competitive condition for the rest of this evening?
Julian feeling that his beast has been challenged by something that does not seem to have a beast at all. It gives him almost a obsessive focus on this man. He moves with an ungraceful purpose as he gets closer to this individual now. And seeing if they respond for the fact that the lashing even happened, or they seem ignorant.
It's difficult to judge what actually indicates the name. When he speaks, he does carry the accent. We've made a big mistake. This time.
Never seen a talking rock before.
I've seen many rocks, but I'm not one of them.
Hmm.
Give me a reason I should not have you thrown out of this club in pieces.
I'll tell you right now, that would be a very messy ordeal that none of us want to have. But I know beastmen when I see one, and you're not one of them. And people look at...
We have a reputation to uphold. And you're breaking our rules.
What rules am I obliged to follow? I've never seen or heard of your kind before.
Don't fuck with the men and ladies of this club. It's simple. Maris is not with you. Otherwise, you will call the strength.
When he brings that up, that does cause a bit more focused on this man now, because he's not ignorant.
It's like, it's almost like it strikes a human forward. It's like he looks at you with long black hair, yellow eyes.
That is true. That's one of their calling signs of the yellow eyes. But I also have not dealt with the Strix before, so then Julian will simply say, like, I can respect that if it's properly enforced and respected in kind with me as well.
You are still not giving me a reason.
What question did he ask? I'm losing track. Sorry.
Give me a reason I shouldn't throw you out of this club in pieces.
No. He states. Julian will state that because he says to her like it would not be a clean affair, and we don't want this to get messy now, do we? So I did what I did because I wanted to see how you respond.
Not your decision to make.
But I did anyways. But with that statement, Julian will incline his head in a sign of submission and says, I do not regret what I said. I will not excuse for what I did, but it is true. It was rude. I do not demand your forgiveness, but I will apologize. You may refer to me as Mr. T.
I already know your name.
He raises up his head and just looks at the man. But I don't know yours.
Isn't that unfortunate?
And as we're having this conversation, are people noticing us, or thugs coming by to give protection to this man or anything?
Security presence does appear to be paying close attention to you.
And I look at the man with yellow eyes and say, "What could I possibly do to reset our relationship then?"
You could like explain to me why you're here in the first place. This isn't the club for your kind.
Looking for work? Got a hint that there's jobs here. Seeing what's possibly might be available for my expertise.
Work. Why would you seek work from us?
Can't sit around just staying in the darkness all the time. Gets bored that way. I'm hoping maybe enough jobs, enough goodwill. So I'll be invited to more. And he kind of points, gestures around the club, establishments of this nature.
Blinks. Looks to the side, as if you're irritated. You want to look at the toy shop, I understand.
And with that, no, like, okay, nuance is over. Glad to be him. He's not gonna fight or anything. He's just like, okay, like I've been caught. No reason to quit fucking around.
You see. I see. Well, that is not my decision. But I could ask on your behalf to see what would need to be done so that you would be welcomed.
Highly appreciate that.
Of course, with this much. Void. What is not the purpose of them?
No, it does not.
We do not take matters of ownership seriously and severely as you do. On the contrary, we know the importance of generosity. ask her the question. I hope you understand that.
Yeah, I'm still listening. Oh, so because he's saying about that you put that into his report, asking the question. He nods.
Please enjoy the rest of your evening.
Julian, well, nod but say nothing. He'll begin separating himself from the man with the yellow eyes and just looking around to see if the security has let up or they're still focused on me.
Keep an eye on you. They're not actively firing.
Okay, then as Julian's interacting with the club, due to his competitive nature right now, he's making very clear where he stands. So, more or less, he's in control. He has the power right now, or at least, if not, he may look it seem like that's way. So, he definitely come off a bit rude and standoffish to people, and just waits around to see how the club responds to him, and just trying to cook up other things about this place, like outside of the Indian influence and a larger group of people from Indian culture. Is there anything else in this club that might be worth noticing? And also that this place is brightly lit. That.
Anything you do notice? Lots of reflective surfaces.
So, just specifically like mirrors or just shimmering or just reflective surfaces in general. Everything's a polished shine.
Fair few mirrors. A lot of polished objects.
Julian will keep that in mind because there is a cultic resonance with reflections. So this could mean something. And a clientele, any particular patterns outside of general, where these people in uniform or there's no real uniform, or the workers seem to be mainly men, women, list goes on. The possible reports, if not, after maybe an hour to an hour and a half worth of being here, Julia will leave. There's nothing that seems to be of real note. Yep, then Julian, after wandering this place, will leave. And as he leaves the club, he looks at it with intensity and thinks about the man with obsidian skin and thinks about some questions to ask some people. What entities could have such a distinguished visual appearance, but nobody seems to respond to them because he's never heard of obfuscate that works like that, and he didn't have a predatory aura unless he's using obfuscate actively to hide it. So there's a lot of questions to be asked right now. Because on a kindred level, this dude is breaking all the rules on general tells and signs. And Julian's not aware much of other supernatural entities. They're more or less just rumors and hearsay to him. And if we have made deals with other supernatural creatures, he would like to know.
This is more looking into. But I think for now, we can leave us in there. Thank you for everything.